Okay, guys, here we go. Excuse me. For another Monday night 9-ball Scottish doubles. And we'll have a quick look at the bracket. This is a round one match, I believe. No, it's not. It's a round two match because these two teams got a bye. We've got Josemacuen and Romario playing Dizzle and izom. And Jose and Romario are getting 3 racks. Remember, it's a race to 7. It's also handicapped, and there's also the one lost side, which the losers of this match will go over to. So we can see that the score is in the HUD up top screen. Jose and Romario were given the 3 racks to start with. We're just in the middle of the first rack, and we'll see if these guys can make the most of their handicap. They're certainly capable. Jose doesn't play a lot of 9-ball, he's more a snooker player. Romario plays a bit of most games, I think, but if we've seen Romario before, we know what he's like. He can blow hot and cold. But even with this handicap against him, Dizzle and izom are well capable of getting rid of that deficit. But what they need to do is they need to play good position. And the problem I can see here is getting from the 6 to the 7 ball. And the other problem is that it only pots into this bottom right hand corner pocket. So let's see if they plan ahead. And this isn't going to be easy to get on the 6. Got to move that cue ball. Yeah, well, even if he'd sunk the 5, he was still out of position. The best he would have got was a bank on the 6 there. And again, there's still a problem for Romario because the ball's in the pocket, so he's just played the slight angle. And now he's left his partner fairly straight on that 6. So what does he do? Does he just stop it and leave the bank on for Romario? Or is he going to try some elaborate positional shot? Well, he went for the elaborate positional shot, which was never there. Now, had we been on TeamSpeak, that's the one thing I would have told him not to do, but I think they might have got away with it. Got to play the sensible shot, not the over-ambitious shot. Dizzle's problem is trying to keep this safe. He's trying to tuck behind the 8. Just hit it a bit too hard. Now, there's a good chance here to double this 6 ball down the table and try and hide behind the 8 ball again. Well, Romario's banked it. I don't know whether he meant to play that or not, and certainly didn't want the collision with the 9 ball. He may have went for a sort of shot to nothing there. But Jose's got a difficult cut down the rail. But he's got it. And that should be enough to win this rack. Romario just needs to drop the 8 ball in. Cue ball's coming across natural for the 9. And so now that definitely puts the pressure on the favourites for this match. And of course, remember, it's winner breaks. The ball flies in on the break. Bottom left hand corner. What one was it? 3 ball. And a shot on the 1. Now again, Jose tried to draw out, but he collided with the 4, but the cue ball was going all over the place. Romario missed the cut on the 2, and 4 ball goes past the 5 down there, no problem. So just about wait a shot. He needs to leave an angle so that he can come out for this 5. But doesn't want to leave such an angle that Dizzle's going to collide with a 7 ball. Well, I think that's finished perfectly straight, so that's actually fine. He could just kill the cue ball exactly where the 4 is, more or less, and he's on the 5. But again, he has to come round for this 6 ball. And there is an angle, but izom, I wonder what he's going to try here again. He's going to try the draw, and what needs to watch then off in the left middle. He needs to watch then off in the left middle. Well, I called it before it happened. Now that's something that I could see was obvious there by the bottom that he was putting in the cue ball. The cue ball's always going to come across the table, and that was a bad choice of shot. He probably would have been better going forward and risking hitting the 7 ball to get the cue ball around the table, and that could be an error that they're going to pay dearly for. But however, Romario's overhit that. He still left a very thin cut, and the same thing for Jose. He needs to watch the in off and maybe play this with a bit of side, but he's hit it into the rail and he's going to scratch anyway, so everything evens out at the end of the day. But there's some basic fundamental mistakes there, where if you have the bit more experience, you can see where the path of the cue ball's likely to go, and you can try and take evasive action. And that was 2 errors there by the players, and that gives Dizzle and izom an easy finish in this 5th rack and gets their first rack on the board. So Romario and Jose still lead by 4 racks to 1, and Dizzle breaking. A lot of movement, but not a lot of noise of balls falling into pockets. And Romario just roll this 1 onto the 7. And Jose's left a nice little angle. Now you could just stun this 2 in and bring the cue ball back to the left a little bit on the left hand side of the table, and he's got the 3 into the middle, and he's went the other way. He's still sitting pretty, and if Jose's got a little angle there, he can stun. Now again, he just seems to want to draw the ball. You can stun onto the rail and bring the cue ball out. And the problem ball is going to be the 6. It looks reasonably tight to that rail, and whatever Jose does, he doesn't want to leave this straight. Needs to bounce a bit. He's got a slight angle, and now Romario could play the simple shot and just follow through, which he does. A little bit of right hand English, kick the cue ball across, and that's perfect. Now Jose's got a choice. He can roll this in and leave the 9 into the left middle, or he can stun across to the left and leave it into the right middle. And he's done entirely the opposite and just rolled through. So Romario's got the choice: cut it into the right middle or roll it into the end. He's done that, and now they've got their 4 rack lead again. And at this point, this is where Dizzle and izom need to get clever. they need to think a bit more on their shots and make this a damage limitation. And that wasn't a great shot. It's just given Romario a straightforward enough one bolt down the rail. Now, there is an angle to come around behind the 9, but there's a bit of traffic there. He could check this and bring the cue ball back. Well, he's underhit that a bit. Now, can he see that? No, he hasn't. He hasn't hit it enough. He's really weak shot. But Romario's got second prize there. Managed to catch the edge. And that's going to bank in that. That's perfect. And perfect on the 4. Well, that's the kind of luck you need to maybe change your fortune in the match. And they definitely need to run this rack now. See there, the 6 ball tied up in that left rail again. I mean, it's not frozen to the rail, but it's still tough to get onto, especially I think when Dizzle's left pretty straight. He might just want to try and draw back a bit, or he might follow through, whatever he's comfortable with. Now this is where players, I think, aren't sure what to do with this type of shot. There's enough angle to stun across and take the 7 into this bottom left. But you see what he's done there, that's a nothing shot. And this is where you've just got to think about the physics of the game. The angle's there to stun the cue ball off the left rail and take it across to the right. And would have left that 7 ball past the 9 into this bottom left. And it's so obvious. And that's thrown away their chance to win that rack. It does show the sort of lack of experience of a lot of players. Well, there Jose he's won a watch there with that one. So we've had 2 kickbacks and they both went in. And let's see if Romario can make the most of it. And he's overdone it. But he really had to get the cue ball around the angle and down for that 9. And I think this time izom and Dizzle are going to be the lucky ones in this case and manage to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat in this rack. Yeah, just getting back to certain shots, and that's probably where the weaker players in these 2 teams are probably izom and Jose. When Romario's played a lot of 9 ball over the years and he's got a lot more experience. His problem is consistency, and he's in too much of a hurry. Jose is definitely just a lack of experience. He's still learning, and there's lots of shots still to learn. And izom, with that shot that he played on that 6 ball, you can see that he wasn't really sure. And then when you're not really sure, that's where you're just relying on luck, and luck isn't going to win you a match. Not often enough it's not going to do it. So you have to use your ability and your skill, and the only way you get that is by keeping playing and watching other people play shots and how they play them. But just the wrong. He just didn't read the shot properly. He had the angle, could have easily stunned the 6 ball in. But then again, that's how we all started. You know, I like to think that I've learned a fair bit from playing in real life, more so snooker that is, but certainly through the years of playing virtual pool you can pick up the shots by watching and learning and playing the better players. Where are we? We're now into the 8th rack, and Romario and Jose still lead by 5 racks to 3. We've got izom rolling a 2 ball in, and I can see there's going to have to be a billiard played here or a carom off this 5 onto the 8 by the looks of it, because that 5 just simply won't go past that 8. Now this is again where izom might try and do something silly here. He might try and draw up the table and try and collide with these 2 balls, and okay, it would look clever, but it's not the shot to play because you're not guaranteed anything. So yeah, that's exactly what Dizzle sees. Dizzle's telling his partner to leave the cue ball there, and izom didn't even listen to that. He tried some crazy draw shot. He still left Dizzle a shot, but not taking your partner's advice, and especially the more experienced partner, is not recommended. And Dizzle can just kiss on to the 5, and the cue ball's going to hit the 8. The 8's got to go in. But where's the 8? Well, he's got it far too thick. And that would have been a much easier shot to play had izom listened to what Dizzle said. He wanted the cue ball left more or less where the 4 ball was, so that he could just thin off the 5 and billiard the 8 ball in. As it is, these 2 can't even pot the 8. There's been 2 different attempts to get it. This time it's bound to go in. And Dizzle just needs to be delicate with this one. Now izom needs to be careful. He doesn't want to come back and hook his partner behind that 9. That looks, it's hard to say, but that's probably what he's going to try and do. Maybe stun off the end rail and come up. Well, he's got lucky because he's kissed the 9, but that again was the wrong shot. He should have went the other side. You want to take out these things in the equation. You don't want to be sending a cue ball near a ball that could cause interference and make your life difficult. But anyway, they've got away with it, and they've got the 3rd rack on the board. And Dizzle breaking in rack number 9. Still struggling to get a ball in the break here. I think I can only remember seeing 1 ball going in the break. Maybe I've lost track, but certainly not many. This needs a little delicate touch here, just to come back up between that 6 and the 8 ball. But Jose's taking his eye off it altogether, and he's overhit it anyway. And if you don't play a lot of 9 ball, which Jose doesn't, he definitely doesn't, he plays much more snooker. So the difficulty coming into a game like this is touch and feel for the shots. And izom's overhit that as well. Should still expect Dizzle to get this though. Now if we just, let's see what the angle's like there. Now you might want to try, he's going to try and check this. Difficult to say what shot he's trying to play, what side he wants to finish the cue ball to leave him on this 5. Let's have a look. Just natural. Yeah, natural and good weight. And problem though is his izom's tight in the rail, so the cue ball can only go forward. But if he plays it right, cue ball come off the end rail at the top of the screen and down the left hand side of the table as we look. That would be the path to play. Let's have a look. Yeah, because you can play it with a bit of inside English, bit of left hand side. And again, he tried to play a stop shot when he was too close to the rail, and that sends the cue ball offline towards the 5. But again, that's just lack of experience. It's all about seeing the right shot and, more importantly, playing the right shot. Dizzle, I don't know how much you could see of that 5 ball, but I think he did try and play the cut onto the 8. Now Jose needs to be careful here because there's an in-off into that top left hand corner as we look. And he's overhit it again. Now this time Romario has a bank on. Does he go for the bank or does he play the coverage shot? Well, he's playing the safety, which was a wise shot, but he's overhit it as well. That's a bit weak again. Now this is really putting the pressure on Dizzle, because he's going to have to try and cut this 7. The cue ball's going to come up for the 8. He's got it, but has he? He's just, I thought he'd scratched there. So now izom's got a very thin cut on the 8. He needs to play this with right hand English to send it off the side rail, the end rail, the right hand side rail as we look, and down towards the 9 on the narrow side, because that's the natural path the cue ball will take. And again, played it all wrong. I don't think he put any English on that at all, because the cue ball just pushed straight across off the rail into the corner, and that's another gift. So we're still seeing these errors, and Romario and Jose have somehow gotten to the hill. They're on 6 and Dizzle and izom are on 3, but there's been, the basic mistakes are coming from the weaker player on the Dizzle and izom team, no doubt about that. And that's why they're struggling to really get into the match. and capitalise on the opportunities that they've had so far. And Dizzle's looking to see if the 4 passes the 7. Now let's see. That's very, very tight. That would have to be hit soft, and you'd have to try and cheat the pocket, and I would say that's not really on. So Dizzle's tried to do something with the cue ball, and I don't think the 4 passes a 5. No, that's never on. And izom's wondering what to do here. He's tried to hit it soft enough and use the 5 as cover, just overdid it a wee bit. That was probably the right shot, but he's left an edge out here for Jose to cut this, and again, nothing needs to be done with the cue ball because it's going to come round. But Jose's tried the safety as well, and he's failed. Now, this opportunity here, these 2 players simply have to run this rack. There's no ifs or buts, because if they get 1 or 2 balls, Romario and Jose are going to clear up. And that's been hit too hard. And that's a bad shot by Dizzle. That's really bad for him. But that's a better effort at the safety by izom. Let's have a look. Yep, that's well enough played. It's got the cover. Oh dear. Romario's went round the jaws and missed the 5 completely, so it's ball in hand. How many chances do these guys want to win a rack? Because now Dizzle's got ball in hand, he's playing it dead straight in the 5 and drawing back. Slight angle. And really nothing at all for izom to do other than just roll the 6 in. There's plenty of room there for his partner to get the 7 and get on to. Now again, this is just pointless. Absolutely pointless. That was terrible. Why the hell is he trying to play stupid draw shots when there's a simple shot to play to leave Dizzle on the 7? 7's more than enough room potting that 7 for Dizzle to get the cue ball out and get his partner on that 8, and that's just not helping the situation. But Dizzle managed to kick the 7 in because it was close to the pocket, but he should never ever had to have played that shot. That's just really bad. But anyway, somehow or other they've managed to salvage this rack as well, but they definitely didn't deserve that. So it's now Jose and Romario leading by 6 racks to 4. Oh, and the 9 goes in the break. So that changes it now. Now only 1 rack in it. And this time though, the 9 ball stays more or less dead in the middle of the triangle. But they got a ball in the break. 4 balls went in this time. Now, let's have a look at that. Well, he's got the cover. Now this is where, again, you need to get wise. Well, Jose's managed to hit the one, but he's not hit a rail after hitting it. Or did he? Aye, the cue ball hit the rail. My mistake. Well, if you look at the balls, there's no reason why they shouldn't run out again. Just got to get the cue ball around the angles, or drop behind it and get the 3 into the left middle. The angle's there to stun across to do it. And that certainly wasn't the side to try and get on the 3. Because again, you're putting the cue ball into an area where there's a blocking ball possibility, and that's what's happened. And Dizzle manages to kick the 3, but he's only kicked it up over the pocket. And this is Romario and Jose's chance to seal the match. That cue ball, oh dear, disaster. There we go. Straight into the middle pocket. Had about 5 or 6 foot of table to work with and overhit it. Now again, izom is looking for problems here. I think all he needs to do is just drop the 5 in. But again, he's trying. This is just putting everything in danger again. He's got away with it. He's left it more or less straight. So what does Dizzle do? Is he going to try and run the cue ball around the jaws, come round, or draw it back? That's what he's going to do. Oh, that's the worst shot of the night there. You've just witnessed the worst shot you've seen in this match by Dizzle. And they definitely don't want to win this match. Not with a shot like that. He just thins the 7 onto the rail. The right shot. And the pressure's really on Dizzle now, because he's got to try and keep this safe. Is he going to feel pressurised into going for the bank? No. Went for the double kiss to keep the 7 safe. And I think looking at this angle, let's have a look. Romario trying to come up behind the 8 ball. Very dangerous shot. And izom should just play this plain ball, cut the 7 in. Cue ball's going to come round off the side rail, end rail, side rail, and out for the 8. Just plain ball. Doesn't need to put any bottom on it. Well, he's overhit it a bit. No, he's alright. He's okay. And that's probably as good as Dizzle could do there. Giving his partner a shot on the 9. And izom's taking far too long in the 9. Yep. Far too long, because he was nervous, feeling the pressure, and that's probably their last shot in this match. And Jose finishes it off. So Dizzle and izom get a second chance on the 1 loss side, but they're certainly going to have to get their heads together and focus, because they deserve to lose that, because they were the favourites. They didn't take their opportunities, and well, we saw the worst shot of the night, surprisingly, coming from Dizzle. So anyway, Romario and Jose continue on. They're through to the third round, and they win the match by 7 racks to 5.